Thank you for your interest in Alabama student nursing apprenticeships. This presentation will give you information about how a nursing apprenticeship can meet your workforce needs. In the 2021 legislative session, amendments to the Nurse Practice Act were approved to allow the Board of Nursing to begin issuing permits for student nurse apprentices. The apprenticeship rules took effect on March 17, 2022. The apprenticeship program is a combined effort of the Alabama Office of Apprenticeship, the Alabama Community College System, the Alabama Board of Nursing, and interested employers. In this video, we'll cover the basics of an apprenticeship, key roles in an apprenticeship, and an overview of the responsibilities of the various involved entities. Why apprenticeship? Apprenticeship is a proven strategy for helping employers recruit, train, and retain highly skilled employees. In all industries, these are challenges, but none more so than in healthcare. This is the reason so many entities have partnered to develop this innovative new approach to help address those issues. An apprenticeship is a form of work-based learning that provides formal, on-the-job learning and related technical instruction. Apprenticeships afford participants a chance to earn money while they learn in a non-traditional classroom setting. Apprenticeships offer nursing students an opportunity to observe the relationship between skill level and compensation. There are 6 key roles in every apprenticeship. First is the registration agency. The Alabama Office of Apprenticeship is the registration agency and is responsible for the initial review and approval of apprenticeship programs, provision of technical support to the programs, and conducting ongoing monitoring of program quality and compliance. Next is the apprenticeship sponsor. The sponsor of an apprenticeship manages the record-keeping and day-to-day program management tasks. Many types of organizations can be apprenticeship sponsors, but in the case of Alabama student nurse apprentices, the sponsor will generally be the student's nursing education program. The third key role is that of employer. Employers are the heart of the apprenticeship. Many employers have been working with the apprenticeship office defining the training programs for the RN and LPN apprenticeships. Next, the related technical instruction providers deliver the related instruction. This can be done in a variety of methods, including the classroom and online training. In Alabama, the primary RTI provider is the Alabama Community College System, or the nursing programs themselves. Employers also have the discretion to provide additional RTI themselves or through an alternate provider. The apprentice is the prize in the entire system. Apprentices are valued and appreciated by their employers who have decided to make a long-term investment in human capital. People from many backgrounds become apprentices, but the thing they have in common is a desire to improve their skills and be rewarded for their work. Again, our apprentices are training to be LPNs or RNs. Finally, apprentices must have a mentor. Apprentices work and learn in their field under the direction of proficient, experienced, and qualified mentors. Now let's discuss the difference between a traditional nursing preceptorship and a nursing apprenticeship. A preceptorship is 1 semester and is unpaid. In the apprenticeship model, it is like an extended preceptorship. It spans a full year and is paid work experience, making substantial contributions to the workforce and patient care. This concept also assists employers on newly licensed nurses to decrease the transition to practice time faced by all new graduate nurses. Here's an example. A student nurse apprentice is hired into a med-surg unit. The apprentice typically works 2 to 3 shifts a week under the supervision of the mentor or preceptor in the med-surg unit, applying the skills he or she has learned in class. The mentor continually evaluates the apprentice's progression towards proficiency of the competencies of the apprenticeship. The apprentice also continues attending nursing school classes and completing clinical rotations in other departments to gain exposure to the full spectrum of patient populations and meet degree requirements. Upon graduation, the former apprentice continues working as a licensed nurse in the med-surg unit into which he or she was hired. Often, apprentices are paid for their clinical hours. This is a strongly recommended best practice, but is ultimately at the discretion of each employer. In the earlier example of 2 to 3 shifts per week, this constitutes a combination of work shifts and clinical hours. The nurse apprentices have a separate job title, possibly simply nurse apprentice, but it must be distinct from and should not be confused with nursing assistants or patient care technicians. They should also have a unique salary schedule, one that is progressive but is determined by the employer. The number of apprentices hired is determined by the employer. Employers can hire as many or as few student nurse apprentices as they need to meet their workforce demand. So, how are the apprentices selected for each employer? The nursing education program or sponsor accepts apprenticeship applications. The sponsor then compiles a list of eligible applicants who have met all minimum requirements for admission into the apprenticeship. The employer can then hire from the list of eligible applicants using their typical HR process. Now, let's discuss the last dollar scholarship policy. To enhance recruitment potential and remove barriers that might impede equitable participation, the Alabama Office of Apprenticeship has implemented last dollar scholarship policy for all registered apprenticeship programs. This means, after all offsets, including Pell Grant, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act funds, GI Bill, scholarships, etc., have been applied, if a bill remains for the cost of the apprenticeship coursework, that bill is paid by the employer. Finally, before an apprentice can begin in that role, he or she must have a valid student nurse apprentice permit issued from the Alabama Board of Nursing. The prospective apprentice must submit a completed application to the ABN. The permit fee and citizenship documentation should accompany the application. Following receipt of all supporting documentation, such as the location of apprenticeship and verification that a registered apprenticeship exists, and the applicant's passage of a routine background check performed by the ABN, the permit will be issued. The permit will be viewable in license lookup on the ABN website as a 7- number with the apprentice's name. We hope this information has been a useful overview of how student nurse apprentices can supplement your clinical staff. We recognize that this is a different training model from what has been used in nursing before, and that this short video will not answer all of your questions. Please reach out to the Office of Apprenticeship if you have further questions.